Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's news leader.
Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn will be sentenced today after pleading guilty to lying to the FBI. I'm Mark Liverman, and I'll tell you what punishment the former Army Lieutenant General faces.
And we'll make a tasty trip to the capital city for this week's Montana Made.
6:30 on this Tuesday. Chelly Missy O'Malley with you here, and our grumbly tummies. Our top national story this half hour. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn will be sentenced later this morning.
This after pleading guilty to lying to the FBI. CBS's News' Mark Liverman has more.
The man who once chanted this about former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton,
"Yeah, that's right, lock her up,"
could soon face that fate himself. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn could be sentenced to prison time today. This after he pleaded guilty last December to lying about his Russian contacts during the presidential transition. Last week, President Trump was asked if he believed the FBI acted improperly in how it handled Flynn's interview.
Well, the FBI said Michael Flynn, a general and a great person, they said he didn't lie. And Mueller said, well, maybe he did.
But that's not what the FBI said. Flynn had already admitted to lying to them. As for the investigation itself, some Republicans say they're disappointed with how the FBI handled the former Army Lieutenant General.
I think probably for most Americans to have a Lieutenant General treated in the way that he was treated without being advised that he should have counsel, without being advised that potentially his testimony was in conflict with what the FBI already know, is troubling.
Special counsel Robert Mueller's office has praised Flynn's cooperation. It's recommended Flynn receive 0 to 6 months in prison because of his, quote, substantial assistance in a criminal investigation. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
A lot more to follow on this story. Michael Flynn is the first White House official to be punished as a part of Robert Mueller's investigation. On Monday, 2 of Flynn's business associates were charged with illegally lobbying for Turkey.
More coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS this morning on that. Meantime, Matt steps in to join us. Not a bad middle of December. 1 week out from Christmas. It's been pretty nice around here.
It has. Now, we're going to see a bit of a change today. I don't think the temperatures are going to drastically change for us, at least initially, but the wind is going to pick up. We're talking about the possibility of snow or rain-snow mix for parts of the area, so there are some levels of concern that we have for roads early tomorrow morning. Right now, a few clouds passing through our skies, temperatures near the 40-degree mark, but it does look like it will be a windy afternoon with a few showers, especially late in the day. We'll talk more about the timing of all this coming up in just a few minutes.
I'm going to put my request in for just snow. If I have a choice of rain-snow mix, I'll just take snow.
Yes, please.
6:32, our top local story this morning. A Butte woman who was reported missing over the weekend found dead yesterday morning in a rollover crash. Butte police found the body of 27-year-old about 2:30 yesterday morning in her overturned vehicle in the Blacktail Creek just off of the I-15 I-90 interchange near the Harrison Avenue exit. Her family had reported her missing Sunday when she was last seen leaving a relative's home in her vehicle at about 11 o'clock in the evening on Friday. Investigators suspect she drove off the highway through a chain link fence and ended up upside down in the creek. No one did see that crash.
It wasn't very visible from the interstate from what I understand. The officer didn't see it when he first stopped his vehicle to follow the tire tracks. He didn't actually see the vehicle till he went through the fence that was torn down and then walked up on top of onto the vehicle.
Montana Highway Patrol continues to investigate the crash. Name of the victim has not been released due to notification of victim's family.
And the Bozeman City Commission continues to look at options for the downtown parking shortage. Parking downtown has been a topic of conversation in the Bozeman area for decades, and the topic was a key component of last night's meeting. Bozeman has been growing at a rapid rate for a while now, but especially in the last 10 years. The growth has put pressure on the city to provide more parking for citizens, which is why the city built the Bridger Park Garage in 2009. The demand for more spots continues to grow, but how the city will supply those spaces is unclear. Right now, the city is completing a study to find out how many spaces need to be added to the cost of those adding of those spaces. Now, Assistant City Manager Chuck Wynn says it's crucial to treat Bozeman as a unique entity of its own.
So we are searching for the best decisions for Bozeman, not for Bend or for Portland or for Billings, but what works in Bozeman. And that's going to require a lot more conversation and a lot more conversation with the City Commission, Parking Commission, and the community.
Now, the city plans to use the 90-day study to determine what the next steps may be, whether that be building a second parking garage or adding to the current one or introducing metered street parking. There was no vote last night on the presentation. The decision for how to solve the problem will be decided once the study is complete.
More to follow on that for sure.
Much more to follow, and I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yep.
Now, along a busy Main Street just off of Interstate 15 in Helena, you'll find a gas station, and within it, a little shop making homemade bundles of beef, potato, and some pastry.
MTN's Melissa Jensen has a story behind Big Paul's Pasties in this morning's Montana Made.
The green dinosaur in front of Friendly Sinclair might catch your eye first, but when you walk inside, it's the pasties that'll catch your stomach.
And these are made fresh every day, and which is wonderful coming from a Friendly Sinclair. I don't believe there's another one that does it.
Diane Hamper is owner of Big Paul's Pasties, named for her husband and cooked from scratch by her every day.
It's all homemade from scratch. So we kind of started out on our own and just built a little business.
That business was created at the urging of their kids, who thought Diane's pasties were too good to keep to themselves. Now, after having several locations around Helena, they've settled into the Sinclair on 11th, surprising gas station goers with homemade goodness.
I'll tell them and they still don't believe me. Even when I go over to wait on them and I have flour all over me, they think I'm shipping them in, but I'm not.
The pasties contain pieces of steak and ground beef, along with potatoes, onions, carrots, and peas. They come in various sizes and other flavors as well. Diane says one of the best things about a pasty is it's portable.
They go snowmobiling. They stop, put them on the manifold of their snowmobile, just heat them up in a foil. We have people that ice fish. Tons of people take them ice fishing. And there's a lot of people that take them in hunting camps.
Or just take them home, along with some gravy.
You're going to have a good meal, a well-rounded meal. There's vegetables, 2 kinds of meat, and a wonderful crust.
Melissa Jensen, MTN News, Helena.
Now, by the way, Diane does sell her pasties out of the storefront at Friendly's. She also does large orders for family events and catering as well.
Excuse me while I drool.
Absolutely. And again, as I've mentioned before, gravy if they're warm, ketchup if they're cold.
Ketchup if they're cold.
That's how I like them. You take one and just throw it in your lunchbox. That's how the miners in Butte used to do it for years. They take them down in the mines. And it was a hearty meal on a 12-hour shift underground.
Yeah.
Yep.
With a little thumb holder.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's it.
We do have to take a quick little break. Let's have a little sneak preview of what is coming up on Montana This Morning.
Yeah, we're going to visit a tomb in Egypt unveiled for the first time after thousands of years. You're going to love this one. But first, here's John Dickerson to see what's coming up at 7.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we'll break down what's behind the stock market plunge. Former White House Chief Economic Advisor Gary Cohn joins us to talk about the impact of the drop and whether we're heading towards an economic downturn. And we hear from actor Christian Bale on his transformation into former Vice President Dick Cheney for the new movie Vice. We'll see you with all that at 7.